Hey everybody, how you doing today? Tanya with Adventures for Connection and Norma Jean with Adventures for Connection. We're so excited to be here today with you and very grateful that you've decided to join us. And yeah, pop on. We'll give everyone a few minutes. And I thought I would share. It's funny, I did a live reading the other day, and then I for the collective for the rest of the year, and then I pulled it again. Hi Arlene. I pulled it again and it's like almost the same. So I thought I'd start with this because it's very fitting for the times. So we have the Eight of Swords, and you can see she's all tied up there. Hi, Cindy. All tied up there. But she could grab one of those swords and cut herself loose, right? And so it's the way we bind ourselves to situations or circumstances. And that's sort of like the past, all right? This one is the current card. It is the moon. You can see the two towers there, which is like our subconscious, our subconscious and conscious minds. We've got little drops coming down from the moon, which represents the divine. And then we've got a couple dogs howling away there and the crayfish in the water. This is basically, it's time to go inward. It's time to bridge your conscious and subconscious so that you can connect with the divine and create the life that you want. Yes. Hi, Deborah. Hi, Janvi. Hi, Grunchy. Hi, TL Creole. Hi, Bronze Warrior. Hi, Callie F. Kid. Excited to have you here. And then this is the future. And you can see it's a rosy bright. There's 4 wands right in the front. Swift movement into celebrations. So we have the opportunity now to use the lot, go inward, connect to celebrate in the future. It's basically what it comes down to be more simplified. And that when you surrender to the divine, when you surrender to following the guidance and just being yourself and staying true to yourself, everything always works out for you. And so I really wanted to give everyone that beautiful reminder. Hello, Deborah. Awesome. So glad you guys are here. Yeah. And we'll get this one posted out as well. So we wanted to just chat a little bit for the sudden change and change is that one thing in life that is inevitable. Norma, do you want to add to that?
Of course, I mean, in a life of movement, there's always going to be movement, right? So the thing is recognizing that movement does one of two things, and it depends on perspective that you have for self, determining on where you are in self, and it's either that you see it's working against you, and usually there's something you just need to see to be able to get it out of the way. It's something that we have to reflect on. It's something that is mirroring uh, the very thing that we seek to change, or you're seeing it and it's working for you. And boy, what a beautiful process when you see it working for you. I'm just telling you, man, smooth ride. I mean, this boat just feels like it's got the smoothest bottom, and it's just so beautiful to be able to know that the exploration and the new journey, or however it is you want to perceive it, is moving in a way that you never thought possible. But I tell you what, that how does it go? To move a mountain, man, what for when it'll move for you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I can certainly add to during our travels in Greece and doing much more inner reflectiveness and seeing things from a new perspective overall. I've really come to realize that what's most important, in my opinion, is the self and putting the self first, but also that it doesn't matter what external story is going on. It's another attachment outside of you. And so we've been speaking to this quite consistently. And so when our message is that and firmly within that, I can't be any other way. And I have to be who I am. And so does Norma. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's all we want for everybody. That's what we want for you. It's all we speak to is do it for self. And that we don't see ourselves as better than anyone else. We have absolute love for everything we've experienced in the last year. It has been so transformative. I'm so grateful for all the experiences I've had that I've created and others have supported and created together. It's been fan freaking tastic. There's no other way to put it. And it's funny because over the last week, I keep saying it feels like the calm before the storm. And that doesn't mean it's bad or good, but I can sense it.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, last night when we determined to unplug, so to speak, it was with love and grace, honestly. But I can tell you the shift of the energy that came flying into my body and went right through my system, like my whole body moved and Norma could feel it. It was like all this energy came back to me. And it was like, all right, now you're ready. Now you're ready. Because now you're taking your power back and you're claiming yourself first. So yeah, absolutely. Hi, Mighty Mouse. Hi, Angela. So grateful you guys are here. So if you have any questions for us, throw it in the chat. We would love
Mhm.
to hear from you. We have some exciting things coming up. I know that we discussed the working with some in the collective for fight or flight specifically. So even if it's somebody you know that needs it, we've got room for probably 4 to 5 more spots right now. And so we're gonna help transform that. And it is gonna take your contribution, your intention, attention towards it to make it work. Like anything in life, we can't do it for you, but we can help shift you and give you the tools. And that's really our mission here, is to give you the tools so that through our stories and through our sharing, you too can claim your freedom and your sovereignty here and now. Yes. Yeah. Do you want to add to that, Norma? And then I will explain Mighty Mouse, no problem.
Yeah, that's the common goal that you and I both have, is that I'm only here to remind you of who you are, and in giving you and providing you with the tools and the guidance that I utilize, um, only seeks to help you understand how to give you back to you, because you have to give you back to you. This has just been a very long, explorative journey for me. I've been in the exploration business since I was 33. I'm just saying, I've become a pro at it. But if if we're to come to know who we are and know it specifically what it is that we seek to see to change, so that we have that experience outside of us, we must first understand that even though we're in a world, we are a world, and to want to be able to share your world with someone else is a beautiful process, but understand you must know your world. And in order to know your world, you won't have to share your world, because someone else is going to want to know the world that you are. And that's where I am. And I see the beauty in the worlds of every single one of you that I interact with. And it's profoundly beautiful, for we all have something unique to be and to share. And that's my only purpose right now, until something else is added or provided or whatever it may be, is to help you see the world that you are, for I can see it, for I know my world.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And yes, Cindy's sharing too. So yeah, I hear what you're saying. Once I made the decision to go my way, I have such a feeling of freedom and one with source. It's a wonderful blessing. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And there's nothing wrong. There's nothing that was, it just, it was a point of, we talk about this split of timeline, this split of energy, and that's basically what's going on. And there was no, it wasn't at a discourse point, just so everyone knows. It did seem quite sudden, but as I look back, I was like, oh yeah, that was coming for a while. Sometimes when you're in it, you can't see it until you're out of it, and then you're like, oh yeah. Yeah, so yeah, many blessings and love to everyone. So yeah, absolutely, especially FCB and the whole admin team. Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing but blessings for their path, because that's what we're all doing, is having this perspective, and I honor and respect everyone's perspective. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It just feels so nice. And today was so, ooh, just really beautiful relaxation, rest into it. And because
Something going on with your volume, love.
sorry.
There it goes. Something was going on with your volume.
Okay. Here, I'll turn it up a little bit too. To find this this ability to just allow and surrender. And so it's been a huge surrendering for me, coming from the do. I gotta do something, or outside distractions. And then when you settle inward, um, there are no distractions. You found us through Janine. Awesome. Happy to hear that, Steve. Beautiful. And Cindy says, I felt it coming. Yeah, yeah. And somebody else said something in the comment the other night too about, oh, you seem more committed. You're more committed to your mission, and more so than ever, because this next year, 2 years, 3 years, it's not going to be this instant transformation everybody is wishing for, because we've got to take it down, 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 and then build it back up again. And so the sooner that we all do this within ourselves, the easier this next couple years is going to be. And that is truly our wish for you. Yeah. High level of anxiety today. Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about the fight or flight, because anxiety is one of those, right? So if you think about, I like the analogy that you had of a deer. So if a deer is like in fight or flight, it's going to go, right? Generally, or it'll freeze. This is how deers get hit, because they deer in the headlights, right? That whole saying.
Pretty much.
So, right? And so it's going to stay and try and fight. And I've seen a bull moose ram a vehicle, which was totally fascinating, but it was going to fight the vehicle. And I'm like, wow, interesting. But we have that within our body. And what happens is we've been trained to go, 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 like a hamster on a wheel, chasing things externally. And at some point, you wear out your system. And you don't, but it's a comfortable way to operate. So then it's hard to get out of it, because that's how you're used to being, and you don't know how to be any other way. And so sometimes it can show up as anxiety. Sometimes it can show up as like the heart racing, waiting for the shoe to drop, always being hyper aware of what's going on so you can make sure you're safe. I do believe we were a generation that was pretty much ingrained into in a lot of ways. Depending on your upbringing. And I always say the oldest souls have the hardest upbringing, because we chose a path we know we could get through. And then you have to look at it back and go, oh, all those traumas were like my best gifts. And so getting people to come out of this fight or flight, absolutely. And certainly the microdosing of mushrooms is a great way to do that. If it's something you're called to do, you can use breath work. You can use some active meditations. There's many ways to go about this, but it's going to take slowing down as well. Thanks, Linda. Please remind everyone to hit the thumbs up and share. Yeah, absolutely. Get used to that. Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Callie's kid says, I'm seeing a hamster wheel in my brain. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I get it. Yeah. And Linda's seen it coming for a while. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, there's always that hope and wish that something would shift energetically first, and it just wasn't. So yeah, it's all good. And I'm grateful. Do you want to speak a little bit to the fight or flight as well, Norma, please?
Yeah. So, as we know, everything is energy. And given the world that we were born into at this time and period, it was a world that we was born into that ran off of the energy of others. And so as we went along and we were being conditioned and we were being manipulated, and we kind of knew it, but we didn't, because what became was coming into a period where things were beginning to be created that ensured or gave us the ability to be able to expand more in, just being here as a human. So as time went on, what happened is during that process of building, what was taking place is we didn't know that in that building, anything can be, everything is a two-sided sword here. You know, is positive, negative, positive, negative. But in time, it was something that was utilized where programs were created to be able to keep us in that place. Jobs that were created that keep high anxiety due to the stress levels of the performances that we must, utilize every day to perform that job very well. The one thing that they didn't promote was decompression of that. And as we go along, the fight or flight that usually utilizes a lot of energy because you are hyper focused, because you are in that place where you don't feel safe. Whether the environment always is giving you that purpose or reason to think you should be in fight or flight is beside the point. There are differences, but in that fight or flight, what we do is we heighten our senses so much it's like a dopamine hit. And when we do that, and then we stay there, it's very, very, very taxing on the body. And when we can't bring ourselves down from such a big rush, then what happens is the body starts to do what it needs to do to protect itself, which begins to start to affect organs because the body goes through a response of what's most important. Well, they got to make sure they're still breathing, got to make sure the heart's pumping. So what it's going to do is it's going to take those and make sure the brain's still going because the brain is what's controlling, everything else. Those are your three most vital, important, actions that the body does automatically. So what is it going to do? It's going to start pulling from the ones that aren't so important: kidneys, liver, your stomach, all these organs. So there's an order to how this takes place. And it's always going to go for the one that is going to help the body survive. That's what fight or flight is. So if you don't have a way to bring yourself down off such a huge dopamine hit, it's going to start affecting you. It's going to feel like you're having a heart attack, or it's going to feel like you may be having a stroke, because sometimes it affects one side of the body more than it does the other because of how it's set up. So understand that it's all energy. And to begin to recognize, is it a thought that's bringing on this hit of dopamine, or is it something that is in your environment that's making you feel threatened? But understand, even when a deer gets to a place after it's done what it's needed to do to get away from the danger, what does it do? It stops and it goes back to normal because it knows that the only time it needs to utilize that fight or flight is in that purpose and that purpose only. Other than that, it goes back to regulation so it can be.
Yeah.
So you've got to find ways to bring the anxiety down so it's not so much on the body.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And for me, it was adrenal fatigue. Absolute adrenal fatigue is what happened with me. And that was from trying to do everything and trying to manage doing everything in a business and be a mom and be everything to everyone, because I was always helping other people. I was forgetting about me. And yeah, no worries, Missy. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Yeah. And it's really beautiful. And I had to work with a bit of a health practitioner. I worked with a naturopath for a bit on that just to get that balanced out. And energetically, it was getting outside. That was my biggest thing. Outside in nature. Because I still had enough energy. I needed to burn some off, but I would come in and I'd be like, okay, I'm good now. And actually, the first thing I did was I would drink. Oh, that brings me down. And then that becomes a crutch, right? And so, or it's smoking weed, or it's right. So it just depends on what it is. Yeah. Yeah. It's like the ability to think your blood pressure down by 40 to 50 points in less than 2 minutes. And that's that really deep breath reset. And breath work can be beautiful. It's honoring your body as much as you honor your child. Because in order for you got to love you. You've got to put you first. And when we don't, it's really taxing. And then once you've got that fatigue, it's a climb back up. Absolutely. And so now I'm at a place where it's like it's really easy for me to go, yeah, I'm gonna nap at 8. And when I'm driving, I drive at 8, like literally just go into a meditative state as I'm driving. Not that I'm not paying attention, but I bring my vision out really wide and I just let my brain relax because there's nothing I need to think about right now. And so this has been a way of training. So as we go through this, and even if you've just got anxiety, you're welcome to join. So signing up is in the Telegram group, replying to the video, and then we'll get it up on the website and we'll chat about it a bit more. And then what we're going to do is create a video series from that with just us pinned and talking so that we can help others in a bigger way as well, because that is our mission. And this is part of this growth for us that'll be coming along. Absolutely. And little lad, good to see you. Yeah. And Cindy has a good comment. Love your comments, guys. Keep bringing them in. Feeling going through that. My higher self is asking me to step into my power and not listen to someone who's telling me to get in the box they expect me to be in. Exactly. Exactly that. Not happening. It doesn't matter who it is. Thank you for your opinion. That would be your opinion. Because only we can make choices for ourselves. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So this is the most important thing. And Cindy took the dogs for a walk. That helped you today. Yeah. And don't forget. So when we have that anxiety too, remember to ask, is this mine? And body dose it. Because there's a lot. You have to remember that as a collective consciousness, the more you come into self and the more you understand energy, the more you're going to pick up on somebody else's stuff, because that's part of the gifts that are coming in and the growth that will happen. And so don't forget to ask that, because I can tell you, if I get anxiety at this point, it's generally not mine. Generally not mine. It's not a place that I can be put in. It just doesn't work for me anymore. It's like, yeah, I know this game. I'm not playing it.
But there's also, speaking to that, there's also, we got to remember the body holds memory. And if you do it to yourself enough times, guess what? The body's going like, okay, I remember this about this time during the day, whether there's something that's in your environment that is triggering this or not, guess what? I'm going to give it to you. You know why? I remember. I'm just giving you what I remember. And so that's the reason why it's good to go out or define modalities and tools to utilize when you feel it coming on, to start replacing it with something new. But that new being something that's definitely going to be for you. Okay. So remember, the body has memory. It stores it. It goes to the brain. It's like, hey, it's 2:30. I remember this time, every day there's something that's going on. I mean, it doesn't mean happening right now, but let's give him a hit. I'm just saying, just remember. So you got to remember, the body, the body only does what it is you're telling it to do. So remember, you are the one in control. It's just up to you as to what commands you give it. So there you go. It's crazy, really. Make fun because I get it, because I've been there. And I remember that I had to change my way of approach to things, so that way I was giving my body different commands, where when my environment was not giving me the purpose or reason to hit this or hit that within the brain, then I was able to have better ways of approaching things over time. So it does take time, especially if it's something that, we become habitual in. So just replace it with a better habit.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's almost going and doing something the opposite of what you would normally do is often a very good thing. To go and do a task, right? Or go for a walk outside. That's always going to be my first recommendation. If you're able to, go for a walk outside, because you will always feel better after that. I don't know anybody that doesn't. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And so then the function becomes, okay, I did that. And you do it for like a month and a half, and you're feeling better, and you got some new affirmations, and now your energy is shifting in a different direction. And so then it's easier to do the next step and then the next step. So it's like building a foundation for yourself that gives you the tools in the toolbox that you can carry with you for the rest of your life, and then start to share with others, because they're going to notice a difference in you.
Mhm.
This is, we can't reach enough people alone. This is why we want a collective, so that everyone can be a beacon of light and shine for those others. Absolutely. This is the mission. I'm getting dinged. Yes, 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 yes. And to not put us on some sort of pedestal because we're the ones on the screen speaking. Uh-uh. We're all in, I look at it more like a circle. We're a big circle of souls having a human experience together, and we all bring in a different skill set. We all bring in a different skill set. Absolutely. And that is the biggest gift ever. Really. That is the biggest gift, is that you guys are all showing up and you're all benefiting from this. Yeah. Hey, I'm Bob. How are you? Thank you. Hey, Kiwi gal. Yes, Angela. Interesting. So here's a good one. I've experienced strange symptoms lately. I wake up with symptoms of hunger, but no matter what I do or don't eat, the feeling doesn't dissipate. I would never eat until approximately 10:30 a.m. before these symptoms started. I no longer crave coffee, and I was a two big cup a day person. I'm still processing these symptoms, but deep down feel it's perpetuatory. Yes, 100%. 100%. Yeah.
I can speak to that. I've been
Yeah.
having it too. So I mean, I'm going through that where it's like late at night. I'm like, before I go to bed, and it's like I need a snack, and I'm like, I'm not hungry, but it's like you do it anyways because it's almost like it's almost like a feeling of there's something that you need, but you don't know what it is. So you try to give it what you think it is, but it never ends up being what it is that you need. So it's like, wow. So I get it. I'm right there right now. So
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tend to go for a bit of protein, nuts, seeds. Yeah. But I also, yeah, I also actually really love to fast. It's like one of my favorite states to be, although it hasn't been happening lately in the winter. I always find it harder. So yeah, Angela says exactly. Um, I'm quite Donna Quixote almost my whole life, and I rely mostly on myself. Yes, but I was always there for various types of me. 2023 is a year when I finally graduated. Graduated disconnection. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. Thank you very much, Bob. I appreciate that. Absolutely. Yes. And we are happy to send people there that would like to find out more about the show. 100%. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Foods that usually satisfy Angela now give her nothing. Yeah, that can happen. You might be needing something else in your diet. Um, you eat much fruit? Like fruit keeps popping in, like berries, for some reason. Michael's asking, do you use a pendulum for any answers? You can use your body to dose, or you can use a pendulum, whatever you're most adept at. Absolutely. Okay, Angela. Well, just watch it, observe it, and ride it out, because it will shift. That's the one thing you can count on. It'll shift again. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And Cindy says I hardly eat at all anymore. Yeah, absolutely. Um, so I just want to go back to Michael's request about the dosing. So, um, when we're body dosing, and I've done several videos on this. If you'd like me to show you, I can. I don't use a pendulum. I tend to use a copper rod more. It's usually around. And then I also dose with my fingers, because I've managed to get it to that, but it's been a bit of practice, and I'm not always fully trustworthy. Right? Like I have to double check and drop my consciousness down again, because it's like, oh yeah, I'm in my head. But I know the difference at this point. So Cindy says she hardly eats at all. Yeah. You will go through waves and phases. Yeah. Yeah. If your pendulum works, then absolutely use your pendulum. Well, I know that's yeah, I know a lot of people that prefer the pendulum and use the pendulum all the time. Yeah. So we got a question about fasting. So it depends on you and what you're comfortable fasting to. So after 72 hours, your body starts to eat what is no longer for its highest good. That's the easiest way to put it. whether it's extra fat or cells that need to be eaten up, because we're not meant to be eating 3 meals a day, and the size of meals. Like, I've never had much tone for breakfast. I've always been like, I can skip it. My kid naturally does it, and Norma does it. So thank God we're the same that way. Yeah, it works out well. But and then the longer you shift it out, you just extend it slowly. And once you do 24 hours and you realize that wasn't so bad, and one of my biggest tips for people is there's something called the master cleanse, which is very similar to the drink I drink, with a bit of maple syrup in it. I've done a week on that. That's the longest I fasted, and that was quite a while ago. So, but with some warm weather and the right energy. And that's when I lived in Whistler, and I was snowboarding every day. I had so much energy because I just did. It was fabulous. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So it's whatever you're comfortable with. There's no right or wrong way. And Grunchy says, become an analytical thinker. Most people do this, learn how to train and control these bodies. Yes, absolutely. You want to add to that, Norma?
Yeah, you be careful. Because this is about balance, y'all. This is about balance. This is finding a balance in everything that we do, everything that we choose, everything that that comes along with having the fullness of the disclosure of all the information needed to provide you with the knowledge to make discernible choices. So that's what we're seeking here, is to find a balance. And you can't have too much analytical without some creativity. You can't have too much creativity without a little bit of analytical. But because I have been both, and it was a sliding scale thing, and it took me a while to get back to a balance where I had enough creative, flow to match the analytical or logical mind of the being that I am. That when you can get the two to come together and have a commonality or a common ground with one another, where they can have an ebb and flow, where there's not more of one or less of the other, then you're going to find better modalities, and they're going to work so much more in a fluid way. So, yeah, I mean, it's good to have that logical or that part of your mind to be able to tell the body what it needs to do in order to improve, but just make sure you keep a balance, because the body also needs to express as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And hi, Lulab. Absolutely. Right now, my body is telling me to make hot cocoa. Try hot cacao. So get the original and then add a little honey to it. Yeah. So if you're having cacao, great. Absolutely. I agree. And it's very much a heart opener. It's actually a really beautiful plant. It doesn't do visuals or anything, but it is definitely a heart opener. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we really enjoyed it. Yeah, really been enjoying my fasting time, Jenna says. I look forward to it. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And Arlene, I know you're worried about everything containing bioengineered food. Um, but you're also, because of that worry, you're telling your system it's not safe to eat. It's not safe to take in these nutrients. And so when we had the discussion the other day, is to encourage you to expand a little bit on that and eat a variety of food for your microbiome. We were talking about this last night as well, that the microbiome greatly affects the brain. And so it can actually cause more fight or flight, more anxiety, more depression. It definitely, I can see the difference when I'm eating really well and healthy. And I wouldn't say that is exactly at this time, but I'm super flying high. It doesn't matter. So that's interesting too. Yeah, it's fascinating. But I also, fully told my body, hey, we're gonna have this. This is the last like family gathering this way. I already know that. So let's make the most of it and enjoy it. And I got a thing for shortbread. It's the only time of year I'll eat shortbread. So Norma's like, whoa, this is different.
When you're making another batch?
I gotta make another batch because my mom wants some more. I'll make some for New Year's Eve. So, what's everyone doing for New Year's? And what weeds are you pulling right now so that you can plant some new seeds for yourself? Because that's really what's just shifted. It was coming in my brain. It was like, oh, it's another go time. Okay, what does this mean? And asking, and then it just all went ding. Yeah, winner, winner, chicken dinner. And so we do have many ideas on what we can bring for the collective and what we can bring for you guys to grow and learn from. And by you sharing what's going on for you, it greatly helps us. Absolutely. And tips and ideas and travel for those who can. We've got Mexico coming up with Serafina. Our whole goal for going down to Mexico is to actually work on the business and explore that area because my energy is supposed to have been there since I was in Egypt last March. And so the areas I'm supposed to go to are kind of just they're kind of just dropping in what they're supposed to. So we're just allowing that to happen. Originally we thought we'd be jumping and going on the road, and then it was like, no, you're thinking too small. You need to go bigger. So we're gonna keep this as home base. We've got a cat here still right now. It's not home base, but launching and landing pad is what I like to call it. Home is wherever I am. And to get into some warm weather and to really, really share that sun gazing again. So we'll do some lives down there. We'll do some lives with the actual sun gazing. We'll be sharing a bunch of videos from down there and exploring some new area because there's so much hidden underground there. I'm quite excited to see what comes through.
You have a little bit of issues with your sound there, T.
Is it? Is it
There you
cutting
go.
out? Is that
Yeah,
better?
it's yeah, that's better.
Okay, I just moved it closer as well. Thank you for letting me know. Absolutely. Yes, Sassy, it's wonderful to see you too. Yeah, well said, Norma Jean, but eventually so much of the balance has to be shed transmuted. Interesting take. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, on Bob. He's telling me my sound's good now. Yeah. Thank you, Lady Patriot. We're all so grateful. Hi, Susie Q. Thank you. Thank you, Lulab. Thank you for saying that. We've got it fixed now. We are still doing the retreat in Shasta. I know that Serafina right now has company. And so she said she was busy until Friday. So this weekend, we'll probably jump in and get onto a call to chat about Mexico. And also, there's another person involved in the Shasta retreat that we're patiently giving him the space to do what he needs to do as we discussed. And so if he doesn't, then we're just going to step in and take it over, which, as you all know, I tend to do. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, absolutely, Arlie. We're going to get you working better. Absolutely. And I suspect that something will happen in a few spots around the US. Sedona keeps coming in. Absolutely. So much good energy in Sedona. I just really have this pull. There's one specific area I quite love that we'll see if we can find the right place for it. Yeah. And then the other one is definitely at some point, probably down to Florida at some point. And just remember too, when you're called to go somewhere, a lot of people are going to be getting up and moving. This is going to happen because we're not going to have to stay in one place. We're going to be able to move around. We're going to be able to explore, and we'll see, because I don't think we're meant to be sitting in one place. I really don't. I think we're meant, yes, for Florida. Awesome. Thanks, Arlie. I really meant we're supposed to be fluid and we're supposed to be playing and exploring. And the more we do that, the more we are creating our life instead of consuming our life. Instead of living in cities and living tight and spending all our time commuting or working, we're going to have this beautiful ability to just travel. Yeah, absolutely. All right, there's another taker for Florida.
Well, to speak to that, T, I was in Georgia for so long, and I knew there was a world outside of that place. It was just one of those that, until it came to until I got into a point in a place of exploration and within, and finding out what, the world that I was and that I am, it that's when getting outside of Georgia really presented itself, and it's been like magnificent since then. But while I was there, I just felt so stagnated to a level and degree. But in that stagnation, I utilized it where it wasn't stagnating, where I grew. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And I what happened for me growing up is I think I was like 18 before I ever went down to Mexico. And then when I when I decided to go traveling in earnest, and I actually was up in Whistler, and I got this opportunity to come down and go to Japan and have the whole trip paid for, right? And then I spent 3 months there, and that expanded me so much to like, oh, there's a whole nother world. Everyone's so different. They're doing this here. Oh, that's smart. I like that. Oh, I don't really like that. Like you can't even walk around with a drink here in North Vancouver down at the key or anything, right? You're not allowed. Oh no, we're only inside, only this. There's all these rules. In Japan, you can buy beer at a vending machine. And but they don't drink as much. Like it's really interesting. I find it really fascinating. And then from there I went to Australia, and I was in the Whitsundays working at Club Med and worked there for 3 months. And also no, 2 months. I spent a month also in Melbourne, which felt a lot like Vancouver. I was like, this is feeling like a little too much like home. I would love to go somewhere different. And so as we talk about this setting and planting new seeds, where would you like to go? Where would you start thinking about it? Because now's the time. And how would you feel if you were there? And so for me, the sun is integral. It is gray here most of the time. We did not get snow this year, as my daughter had hoped. And that's going to happen all the time. But it's very gray. And then you get the occasional sunny days, but the days are so short. So definitely by going further south, we're going to get a little more light without losing the time zone completely. So that was one of the other things, that it was a good time to go there. Plus I got air miles and found a really reasonable place. And it just, when things work out, they work out. And you just know, oh yeah, this is what I'm supposed to do. Absolutely. So you can take your kids into the bars in Florida. Well, there you go. You can't here. If I tried to walk into the pub with Jade over here and she's 18, no, she's not allowed. Yeah. I know. It's actually kind of fascinating. Yeah. 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 And Florida is good. I have not spent a ton of time in Florida. I was in Florida for when my daughter was a cheerleader for about a year. And I was not a cheer mom, but I was one of the I was in charge of some of the kids while I was down there, and I was like, oh, I see you girls. I see who you are. Yeah. And yeah. So Jay did it for a season and then said, okay, I'm done. I'm like, awesome. She got to go to a big competition, got to have this really cool experience. And then she was done. She really loves tumbling more than she did the cheer anyway. So she was more of a tumbler. Yeah, absolutely. So, and what kind of activities? So I know Norma Jean recently has had some experience with the acupressure that is going to allow you to shift your activities. Yeah.
oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it's going to do more than just shift activities. It shifts a lot. It does. It really, really shifts a lot, because to understand the connection, of the mind, body, spirit, is to understand the at the levels that they meet, that they actually propel when you apply the necessary means to keep all in a level of balance, in a level of communication, at a level of fluidness. Because I mean, the body, man, let me tell you, is a great mechanism. It's a great machine in itself. It's probably greater than any machine you've ever come across.
Yes.
You just must understand what it is, what its makeup is, what each of the things that you understand about outside here represents, and things like it. There's so much to it. But when you get at least a general clue and idea and the basics of just take care of it and love it and give it what it needs, and the basic needs of it, it'd work. It'd be like fine tuned all the time. So yeah, it's getting this has been like, ooh, I can actually touch the floor when I wasn't able to for years. And I was like, wow, I haven't done that in years.
Yeah,
So
and it's not just, so this is from the acupressurist. It's not just that she's working on Norma's body, she's shifting her energy. She's
mhm.
shifting her chi. And so that's why the qi gong, and that's why we're adding, we'll be adding some of that in, because there's a bit of a morning routine, and we'll record that so that you guys can see too, and we'll explain it in such a way so that you can understand easily, so that you can do it too. Because if you start your day where you're shifting and balancing your energy, oh, look at that. Like, I do a whole thing in the morning around opening my lymph, right? And activating my chakras. And there's so many things we can do that doesn't cost anything, but
Mm.
it's highly, highly, highly beneficial.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. The universe is loud right now. Absolutely. We are master manifestors. Absolutely. Absolutely. You guys, that's all we really wanted to share today. We just wanted to just check in and let you know, even though it seemed really sudden, obviously, lots of you were picking up on it, that it wasn't, and that it's all for everyone's highest good to continue on that whatever path they choose to continue on. Yeah, absolutely. Angela says, during my last Reiki session, my healer told me she kept seeing the word Vancouver. I'm currently awaiting the possible meaning, not looking, just waiting. Absolutely. Just observe. Yeah, absolutely. You never, ever, ever know. Things come up like out of nowhere quite suddenly. It's quite beautiful, actually. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Can't shake us. Woohoo! Yeah,
It means you're here for the right reasons. Then
that's right. That's right.
you.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we've got some yeah, we've got some new friends coming in to interview. I think February 11th we're going to do an online summit. Some you will know, some you've not met yet, some are new. And as we go through these shifts and changes and growth, we hope to introduce you to more amazing people that have the same mission as us. And so it's collecting that soul tribe and creating this vortex of beautiful energy so that we can all support and create this love vibration that goes out. Because when each one of us works on ourselves, we shift the collective consciousness. Yeah. And I can feel it every day. I can feel it getting stronger. It's been so strong like the last 3 weeks. It's been super strong. Yeah, just a week before the solstice and then all the way through. Maybe it's only been 2 weeks. It feels like months, but it's fascinating how time is kind of irrelevant at this point. And yeah, it's a
Yep.
whole new world. Yeah. Ah, Miss Patriot. February 11th is my birthday. Awesome. We'll be down in Mexico. We're going to do it live from there. So I have another friend, Michael, who's in Mexico, who's does beautiful channeling and very similar work to us. Yeah. We've got somebody local here in Vancouver. His name is Mark. He does soul retrieval. It's quite beautiful. Absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah. And Seraphina's around. So, absolutely. Yeah. And the more and more and more I see all of you rising, I would love to interview some of you, because when you share your story, somebody else is going to hear it in a specific way that resonates with them. And so part of yeah, that is part of it. We are all co-creating here. So, and you guys have been incredible and so supportive. So supportive. Yeah, and working on yourselves, like we see you. Absolutely. Anyone else notice how fast time is going? I heard it's because of when we stop focusing on time. Actually, Norman, you're better at chatting about this one. Go ahead.
I have to ask her all the time. What's today? What time is it? Because I'm so lost in gathering information to bring about the knowledge to tap into the wisdom that's within me. I don't pay no attention. The only time time comes up is if I need to utilize it for something specific, because my time is so valuable. I've given it to self to the point where it's invaluable. And so I get lost. What was it? I had planned something last weekend when it was Christmas weekend, and I was like, something must be going on. She's like, you do realize it's Christmas weekend, right? And I was like, oh yeah, that might be the reason why. So it's a beautiful thing when you come to understand that the time that you have, if you give it to self, how invaluable that becomes because you're invested in self. So it's very, very vitally important, even if it's just 15 minutes a day, take that time and give it to self because you're valuable. And that's how you build your currency. So the abundance that you knew that so that way your abundance grows, but it must grow within self for you to be able to understand how to see it out here because it will show up. It will show up.
Yeah, absolutely. And put yourself first. Good to see you, Tango. Yeah, good to see all of you. We're so grateful. We're like two little kids. We're so excited. We were really giddy this morning. Like I couldn't stop laughing. It was just like me. Yeah, highest divine energies right back at you, Crunchy. 100%. Yeah, we love you all very much. Yeah, and we're gonna let you go for now. So stay tuned. We will have a schedule up. Get some. We'll have a video and all this coming out. We're just in the background working on some stuff. Yeah, time goes slower when you look at a clock. Yeah, the only time I look at the clock is because I actually have appointments, so it's required of me to pay a little bit of attention. But I can tell you when I'm in a flow mode, it's like I have no, like when I'm doing, for example, Pilates, so I have no idea what time it is. I don't even care. If I'm meditating, I don't care. Right? If I'm working on something that I love to do, I don't care. If I'm out for a hike, I don't care. I just don't. And so I don't bring my phone with me. I just get out and tone in nature. So, absolutely.
Now that
All
she's
right.
done a great job of bridging all that for herself. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, it's one of my gifts.
That it is.
Yeah. Bye, you guys. We love you. And we'll be on Sunday at 4 o'clock. So we'll be back then, but we'll get a schedule up for you so it's really easy to find us. Okay.
Like,
Much love.